Hi everyone, this video is about how I've developed a consistent habit of going to the gym as someone with ADHD. Now, this entire video is important, but if you're more short on time, I've labeled which parts are more specific to people with ADHD or general neurodivergent people, so you can feel free to skip to those, or take a look at the script outline that I've linked in the description, and feel free to use that to decide how you want to skip to the relevant sections. First, a brief bit of intro. I've always been a bit frustrated by advice when it comes to building habits or going to the gym. And look, these are things that you should try first if you haven't already. So things like promising yourself a simple reward, like a snack after going to the gym, going on a regular schedule, or participating in intramural sports or some kind of team sport where you have some incentive to go and you can be held accountable. But videos often stop here with very little additional information. Some videos talk a little bit more about the dopamine reward system and how reward and habits can build based on that. What I've always wanted is a more specific set of guidelines or a starting point that I could use to develop a habit. And this video is exactly that, and I hope it's helpful. To give you an idea of how well it's worked for me, my gym habits are that I go anywhere from 3 to 5 times a week. I've maintained this habit since 2016, back when I was 27. I'm 32 now. And this was well before starting stimulant medication, which I started in 2020. So it's something that really worked well as someone with ADHD. So we'll get to that. And as for the workouts themselves, I do a mixture of cardio like running and rowing on machines, and I do some lifting like power lifts and Olympic lifts. And look, I'm not physically impressive. I am skinny, but I do have a robust habit that I've maintained through various things like changing jobs, changing countries, stress-related work, and stress in my personal life. So hopefully this video can help you build a robust habit as well. First thing, before you even get to the gym, there are some things to consider. And this is important for really anyone. You don't have to have ADHD to find this advice useful, at least I hope. The goal here is to develop a pull towards healthiness and a push away from unhealthiness. And if you're familiar with the self-help literature, this probably sounds very familiar. This is actually from the self-authoring program. I won't say anything more about it because I want to be clear, I don't support the person behind it. However, the ideas are fantastic. What's helped me is to understand what it means to be healthy and what it means to be unhealthy, building up concrete examples of what that means. It can be a little more vague or more concrete. For example, you might feel fine now, but the question is, will your habits keep you comfortable 50 years from now? Another, maybe a more concrete example is that people tend to age more slowly when they exercise regularly, and people tend to age more quickly when they don't. And of course, this is more of a correlation, but it's something that helps to keep in mind. I'll talk a little bit more about this in a moment. Another thing that's concrete is remembering how your body feels during stretches without exercise. If there was a time in your life when you didn't exercise a lot, or if you're currently not exercising a lot, think about things like how quickly do you get tired? You're just jogging a little bit from point A to point B. Did you not get as far as you would have liked to before running out of breath? And then the other side, remember how your body feels or felt during stretches when you did exercise a lot. Do you or did you feel good? Were you able to jog without losing your breath? And did that feel good? Were you able to do the things that you enjoy without having to stop every few minutes? Were you able to get out of bed more easily? Things like that, concrete examples that really are easy to remember and stick in your head. And for people older than their late 20s, how much harder will it be to get into shape now than it was 5 or 10 years ago? And think about how much harder it might be as the years go on. If you are in your 50s or 60s, of course, you can start now. The point is, it only gets harder. The point of bringing that up is not to guilt you. There shouldn't be any guilt in this. You should allow yourself to feel bad if you don't work out, but it's a part of a concrete set of examples that builds that kind of push away from unhealthiness and pull towards healthiness. Of course, there are plenty of exceptions. A healthy lifestyle is no guarantee of anything. There are plenty of people that work out all the time and eat well and whatever, and they can get cancer and unfortunately die young. And there are plenty of examples of people that don't work out who smoke every single day, like a pack a day, who live to 90-something. There are exceptions. But the point of doing healthy things is to improve the chances of staying healthier for longer and to improve the chance of having a more comfortable life as we age. So that's something that I think about personally. Your long-term motivation might be a little different, but yeah, we all understand there are exceptions. These are correlations. You want to frame them in your head in a way that helps motivate you and doesn't quite guilt you too much. You should do this over a very long time frame. It shouldn't be done in a day or two. Longer is better because your brain will have more time to internalize these examples and make it more second nature for you to understand what healthy means. Just collect data. Don't stress over this. It should be a passive process. The way that I did it, I certainly didn't spend a ton of energy Googling what it means to be healthy and looking up images and videos of people talking about it. If you want to do that, that's great. But what we're going for here is a long-term sustainable change. The less stress we can associate with this, the more likely it can be that these ideas will stick. The idea is that generally over time, you'll make healthier decisions when it comes to exercise. Try not to buy into fads when it comes to food and exercise. Do what works for you. Collect data specific to your body. There are all kinds of people out there that will say this or that is the answer. You should listen to your medical doctor, and you should not take non-medical professionals' words as truth, including me. Figure out what motivates you when it comes to health. Keep it minimal, easy to understand, specific to you. And look, these don't have to make sense for anyone else. And I'll go from more general to more specific. So for me, it feels good to be healthy. I look better, clothes fit better. Now we're getting a little more specific. My hair is slowly thinning. It doesn't quite look like it from your perspective, but it is. And I know that I'll go bald eventually. I'll start balding eventually at the top of my head. A little vain, but I see fitness as my consolation prize. I have other motivations for fitness, obviously, but it's like my little mini consolation prize. I might lose my hair, but at least I'll be fit. I'll also learn how to accept the fact that I'm balding in a more healthy way. But I use these small things to kind of keep me motivated in the short, medium, or long term. Another thing is that I can basically do whatever I want physically. If someone asked me to play just like a 5v5 pickup basketball game now, I could do that. Thinking back to when I was little, I could just get out of bed and start sprinting and everything was fine. These days as an adult, I do have to warm up, but I can basically do the same thing. And it's really important to me to maintain that for as long as I possibly can. Whatever works for you. Collect data about yourself, what it is that you like, what it is about health that you enjoy or really want, or whatever it is, kind of observe yourself. This does require a good amount of introspection. Stretch it out over a good amount of time. We don't have to rush this. I know it contradicts with the idea of working out now is better than working out later. Well, you can work out now too. So get the stuff in your head over a long time, passively, but as efficiently as you can. The more data you collect, the easier this will be. Next, building an understanding of going to the gym. The goal here is over the course of months to years, understand what it's like to go to different gyms in different ways. How long it takes by car, foot, or public transport, how much energy is involved in going, learning what different gyms look like in person. Videos don't count. It can't be pictures. You have to physically be there. You have to see it in person. You need to know the sights, sounds, and smells. You have to observe how people are working out and interacting with each other, and not overtly, right? You don't want to stare at people. That's not cool. But start slow and easy. This is a lifestyle change, and therefore a long-term change. You want to make this process as easy as possible. And I'll talk about the importance of that in the next section. Experiment with different schedules of going to the gym. You could try regular schedules at different time scales. Maybe you want to say 3 times a week at specific hours or non-specific hours. You could try going a set number of times a month, make a tick mark each time you go to the gym, and that could be at specific times or non-specific times. You could let go of all of that and just say, look, I'm just going to go as many times as possible as my brain or motivation or energy will allow, and do that at specific times or non-specific times. You could try each of these 1 week or over the course of a month. That also is hard. What I did was try to commit to a schedule, and I failed many times. So I did stuff like this, and I stuck to it as long as I could and just kept not succeeding. For example, I tried 3 times a week going to the gym, lasted maybe a month, and I stopped going for a while. And then I tried running every day in the morning after waking up, and I lasted maybe 3 weeks and then stopped for a while. I tried going to the gym once a week, and that lasted a few months, and then I stopped for a while. And then I tried running 5K 3 times a week. That lasted about 3 months, and I stopped for a while. And then I lifted 3 times a week, and that actually lasted much longer, about 6 months. And then I, again, stopped. What's interesting is that over the course of a few years of doing this, trying and failing, I ended up building a good understanding of what it meant to go to the gym. And I started to feel more comfortable going and less self-conscious and less anxious about various unknowns related to that. Even going to the gym regularly and failing, going to the gym, trying to go regularly, but then failing is actually not wasted effort. You can try sticking to a schedule and then failing and then not going for a while. You can try experimenting with different schedules, as I mentioned. but you should let yourself be okay with fading out. If you're really having a difficult time motivating yourself at some point, you should be okay with that, especially if you're starting out. You can also experiment with different gyms, and I'll talk about the different gyms that you can consider in a later section. There are several helpful things about framing a gym habit as building an understanding of how to get to the gym, because it removes the many, many unknowns about exploring new places. I've always had very big issues with this. Even a small task like going to the bank and opening an account was terrifying for me. There are just so many unknowns. You just don't know what's going to happen. Learning how to get to the gym, it really puts those at ease, because you see that, oh, okay, it really is not a big deal. But you can only do that if you physically go. It adds a motivator that's distinct from just working out. More motivators are always good. It contributes to robustness of the habit. If you don't go to the gym for an extended time for whatever reason, this framing can actually help take guilt away from going to the gym less frequently, because data collection doesn't have to be super frequent. Yeah, you have to be careful about that one, but for me, it's kind of helped. Okay, so getting to the gym. This is really important. This can be very often make or break, certainly in my case. And I think this really applies, especially for people with ADHD. First thing is you want to make going to the gym as easy as possible. You want to get that foot out the door. You want to make sure that getting to the car, driving to the gym, getting from the car to the gym, every single step should be as easy as possible. So to do that, you want to make your clothing comfortable for the weather. All your car problems should be fixed if you are driving. So do all your safety inspections, fix the check engine lights, whatever's wrong with your car that's important to fix it. If you're taking other forms of transport like a bus, make that as easy and as fun as possible. Like look forward to browsing stuff on your phone, listening to your favorite songs, watching videos, whatever you like doing on your phone, let yourself do it on the bus. Next, you want to minimize the time it takes to get out the door. If you take more time to get out the door, there will be more opportunities for you to get distracted. You might start thinking about doing easier things than going to the gym, like playing video games. When you've thought about easier things for long enough, it's extremely hard to convince yourself to go to the gym. You will definitely have the willpower to go anyways. The catch is that you can only do this once or twice, or maybe even 10 times. You could probably sustain this for a good amount, depending on how motivated you are. But you don't want to fight with yourself every single time you go to the gym. That negative feedback loop will build. Maybe like 2 people on this planet have the strength to really keep pushing through that because they're insane. But you need that strength to overcome other BS related to ADHD affecting other parts of your life. So you need to make this process as easy and as smooth as possible. And if you keep allowing that negative emotion to build up, then you're only going to associate going to the gym with very negative thoughts and emotions. And this entire process of going to the gym, of building a habit, is extremely sensitive to negative emotions. It has been in my case. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same for your case. That's what I've noticed, and I think that's important to point out. Even if you don't go to the gym very often, that's another really important thing that I noticed with myself. Even if I went, like the time that I went once a week, I started building up these negative feelings associated with it. It just felt like such a distraction and such a chore. And I thought, well, it's only once a week, right? That should be easy. It's not like it's 3 times a week. Well, those negative emotions built up, and it got to a breaking point. I just had too many other things to deal with, and I just stopped going. It's important to minimize those as much as possible. Make your keys, gym clothes, wallet, whatever you carry with you to the gym in a standard, easy to access area or set of areas. For example, I always put my wallet, keys, and phone on my desk, somewhere on my desk. Sometimes I'll put it on my bed or on the floor close to my desk. Whatever it is, I just have a predefined set of places where I know where things might be. And so if it's not on my desk, I can immediately look on the floor or in the bed. Oh, okay, there it is. Grab and go. I leave my gym clothes on my drying rack, which, by the way, combined with my laundry basket, this is a really helpful visual cue for when I need to do laundry. I've also left clean gym shorts on the floor so they're easy to see. But the idea is that it's easy to pick up and put on, just go. You definitely want to do laundry regularly so that gym clothes are readily available. I know that this can be hard and make or break. This is really important for getting out the door quickly. For me, not having clean clothes has always been like this kryptonite to not going to the gym, because I hate doing laundry on the spot. You know, I realize, 3 hours from now I have to go somewhere. I have 2 hours to do laundry. It's enough time, but I hate doing it. It's just not going to happen. So I try to make sure to do laundry semi-regularly, so I always have clothes available. I haven't done this one personally. This is another one. It takes more prep but less time to get out the door. So depending on how your brain works, this could be better for you. You could put your clean gym clothes, just all of them for the week, in a gym bag. so that it's ready for you the next time you go to the gym. You can just grab and go, and since there's multiple days of clothes in there, you don't have to keep swapping out clothes all the time. You just have to take the old clothes out. Yeah, then you can just grab it, walk down the stairs or whatever, however your house is laid out, apartment, whatever, and just out the door without a thought. This is a bit weird, but you can use both meditation methods and a lack of impulse control to kind of make yourself fall into just going out the door. And I know this is hard, but the point is that you should at least know how to do it. Even if you're not good at it, I'm horrible at it. My brain will not shut up. But you should know how to do it and then utilize it in the key moments where you might need it for, like 5-10 seconds. So understand how it works. Like, some forms of meditation, you can try just focusing on one thing, like a particular sound, like your breathing or the cars outside or the birds for like 5 minutes. Just learn how to do that. And then once you know how to do that, you can use meditation to minimize thinking about the hard parts of the gym or really anything else that's going on in your life that might prevent you from walking out that door. Then use your impulse to just go without thinking. We all know what this is like, to just do something without really thinking about it carefully. The more you think about all of this, just the harder it will be to just go. Okay. Another thing to consider that I haven't done this a whole lot, I think I might have done this more subconsciously, is that the brain can only focus on a few things at a time. So what you can do is you can start singing a song that you like as you're preparing to go. So it's less likely for your brain to think about something else. And this can also be a little easier than meditation because you're doing something that you're familiar with, that you really enjoy. So while your brain is kind of distracted with enjoying the feelings and remembering how to sing the song, you can pick up your stuff and walk out the door. You can learn to counter specific excuses. This is very helpful. For example, a big one for me is that I'm too tired. This really depends on the situation, but more often than not, in my case, it's because I didn't sleep enough or I had a hard workout the day before. Generally, I found that I can still work out fine if I just go anyways. I can always scale back weights or reps if I have to. But again, be safe. You know your body pretty well. Maybe you have a physical therapist or something. Within reasonable guidelines, you can counter this excuse. Another one for me is I have too much work. My brain will use this sometimes even if I don't have work. So I have to be honest with myself and either do the work if I don't go to the gym, or go to the gym because I don't actually have work. I don't always succeed. Sometimes I'll not go to the gym and not work. It happens. You just have to be honest with yourself as much as you can, and sometimes give yourself a break. All right. At the gym, I'll be a little brief because this is a little more about motivation, and there are tons of videos on motivation and working out effectively. One thing that I've used very consistently is to enjoy the grind. And I don't know if videos talk about this, but I've always been in the mindset of going in and just trying really hard within, again, reasonable limits, because there is such a thing as overtraining. No matter how much you work out or how long you work out over, however many years, your mind will want to give up before your body. More so when you're more trained than less trained. But either way, that does happen. You should view this as a challenge to be overcome. So really getting into that grind and pushing through physically uncomfortable situations, that's something you should really learn to enjoy. And then view maintaining good form as a top priority. If you can't maintain good form or posture in whatever movement you're working on, just scale back until you can. And you can also view this as a challenge because it can be very hard to maintain good form when performing at one's limits. Make sure to don't overwork. It is possible to have too much of a good thing. Just be careful of that. That's also, I guess, a general helpful life thing. Try not to overwork, but figure out how to enjoy the work when you're working. Yeah, when it comes to working out, I think that's a little easier because you're really doing it for yourself and for your health. Something that can help while at the gym is to watch videos of pro athletes working out or training. Just look at how hard they're pushing. You can pretend like you're Kobe Bryant training to become the world's best or something. Whatever works. Again, it doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. Just whatever works for you. Take clear mental or physical notes of your improvement. Are you less out of breath? Did you lift more? Did you last longer? Did you do more reps? You can take note of this somewhere. I usually use my phone and intermittently take notes of different milestones if I remember, but it can help show you that you are improving concretely. Now, after the gym, if you're taking physical notes, like I said, I use my phone sometimes, enjoy the increases in the numbers, because if you go regularly, you will see an improvement. But also remember that numbers don't always increase. This is something that threw me off a lot for years until I finally realized, oh, that's right. Some days your body just won't be at 100%. That's fine. Or you were really distracted. You had a lot to do and you just didn't work out for a few weeks, maybe even a few months, and you lost a lot of strength. This is a long-term process. So it can help to pay more attention to the fact that you went to the gym, than the fact that whatever numbers have increased or decreased. That's something that was very discouraging for me, is that I'd make these really nice leaps in my squat numbers or bench numbers or whatever, and then I'd change jobs, move to a new city, to a different gym that didn't emphasize those lifts, and I'd get weaker at those. By the way, I go to a class with different programs for working out, so that's why I might not do squats at a different gym. Okay? Be mindful of that, and your body will remind you that you worked out. You'll be sore. Enjoy it and give yourself a little praise each time you notice. Let yourself feel good about it. Take notice of any improvements in physique. You want to associate those positive feelings with having gone to the gym. Workouts or gyms to consider. You can consider 24-hour gyms. And I mentioned this, I haven't done this, but I mentioned this because in the past, I'd often want to work out at odd random hours. One day I'd want to work out at 2 p.m., the next at midnight, the next at 10 a.m. There was no pattern to it. It's a good idea to not work out before going to bed, but you should try experimenting with this, especially if you have random urges to work out at odd random hours like I did. Because personally for me, working out late, an hour before going to bed, it's never affected my ability to sleep. Maybe I had lower quality sleep and didn't know it, but I could fall asleep just fine. And it also let me get that energy out, which actually helped me sleep. So another thing to consider, and 24-hour gyms are just nice because you don't have to force yourself to fit a schedule, and it can make the process of creating a gym habit that much easier. You can indulge those workout impulses at whatever time you might be feeling it. You're already spending the entire day forcing yourself to fit into all kinds of things into this neurotypical world. So why not give yourself a bit of a break with that kind of thing? You can consider gyms with classes or coaches, like a spin class or something. These are nice because they're more structured in terms of class times, and they do have a little more interaction than just going to a regular gym. It can help if you prefer those regular times and prefer to interact only a little bit with people. Being surrounded by others who are positive and doing the same thing could be a good motivator. Gyms like this also provide a much stronger sense of community structure. These classes in different states or countries may be much more similar in terms of people and equipment than regular gyms. Things like boxing, jiu-jitsu, gymnastics gyms, something very focused, these tend to have much more one-on-one interactions, and that can be a very good incentive to show up and work hard. Likewise, these gyms probably have similar equipment and social expectations in different gyms worldwide. And of course, if cost is an issue, you can run while listening to podcasts or audiobooks. I mean, there are countless things you can try. There are all kinds of videos on bodyweight exercises on YouTube. You could try doing intramural or different pickup sports, which is also a low-risk way of socializing. All right, so finally, everything I've said is a starting point. So you should modify all of this advice in a way that fits you. You should start experimenting and start questioning over the long term how you can make this habit sustainable. You're a different person. You have your own individual quirks and subtle differences. Over time, as much as you can, ask yourself, what are the problems in the way of building a gym habit that are specific to you? Modify it, and all the questions I've been asking, I'm trying to keep it general, but there could be something I missed, and this process of introspection it's really helpful for you to identify what works for you. Okay, so to conclude, prepare for a lifestyle change. In other words, a long-term change. This is not something that you can just get up and do right away, unless you want it to fail within a few weeks. Make this process of building this habit as easy and stress-free as possible, so negative feelings don't build up. Physically go to these gyms, understand what it's like to go, minimize all the unknowns. Small and or slow changes can be much more sustainable than fast and or large changes. We're going for sustainability. Look, if fast and large changes really work for you and you can sustain that, great, then just stick to it. But for me, if it's a habit like going to the gym that's very hard, I need a long-term slow change. Whatever works for you. And remember, going to the gym, people are not judging you. They understand you're there to work out. There's a million different reasons why someone might be staring in your direction. Very often what I'll do is I'll do a difficult rep or get off the rowing machine. I'm trying to catch my breath. I'm staring into space, or maybe I was lifting and I'm just thinking about my form. This didn't quite feel right. I feel like my knees weren't pushed out enough or something, whatever it is. And I'll be looking at someone and I don't mean to. So, I'll look away. So that's the thing that can happen. And in a gym, there's a lot of equipment everywhere. Someone might be looking at a specific piece of equipment or someone behind you, but they're not judging you. And if you go to the gym enough in time, you get more fit and you realize that, oh, that's right, I go to the gym regularly and I don't judge anyone that's coming in. There might be someone that looks a little different, but then all you want to do is say, that's awesome, man. Maybe it's someone who's trying to lose weight or trying to gain weight. It's awesome that they're there. Then you start to wish that you could tell them that, look, no one's judging you. But you get the idea. You'll just have to take my word for it. So hopefully that minimizes some anxiety there. I hope this was helpful. Thank you all so much for subscribing. I can't believe how much the channel has grown. When I initially started this channel, I was really just hoping for 100 subscribers, and right now it's over that. So we're actually approaching about 200. So yeah, I really appreciate it. I'll get the next video, which is about the creativity papers, going. Unfortunately, I'll be a little slow on that. Everything is going well work-wise here. It's just there's just a lot going on. But thank you all for watching and sticking with me. Take care.